we're on, you heard the recording. We are on standard time. Standard time means we no longer daylight saving time. Some people, and you had that extra hour, we fell back. So again, this is it's getting dark a lot earlier, but that's the easy thing to do. So thanks for everybody taking the time out. This will be updated. Okay. Again, if you put something in the chat, if someone didn't get if you did not get the invite, and somebody said, yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. Okay. But again, if you didn't get it, put it in the chat. I'll make sure I got to run a test, make sure everybody's getting those. Those who came out on this, really the fifth time we did 4 things this past week. Sunday last week we had a clinic. Tuesday we had the Zoom. Thursday we was at Fayetteville Academy, and for some people there was games on Friday night and there was games on Saturday, on yesterday. Both at Freedom, and they had games at Pembroke Middle School. The girls team, the women's team at Purnell Sweat hosted Green Level. So basketball season is here. Anthony Mena had a meeting today with his middle schools of Robeson County. And when I know about different meeting, guys, I try to accommodate that. That's why I moved this back to tonight to 7 o'clock. And those Fayetteville times, I will put a number, a time, whether it will be a in-person clinic or they will be a Zoom clinic. Right? I'll do that probably on Monday, no later than Tuesday, because we have a lot of moving parts right now. The first day they could practice, the public schools, was the 31st, which was last Monday. They started trials. Their first game that they can do, the teams that have football teams, the first time they can play is the 18th of November. That's on a Friday night. Like that was 2 weeks from this past Friday. So we're less than 2 weeks in right now. And as soon as, I can get everybody on the court and you can get all the administrative things done, I will be assigning you games. I'm capturing, I'll get the results from all those that work games during the summer. Whether it's at Richmond, those 4 days. The first day we did men's, the second 2 days we did women's. We did Grays Creek, we did games over there as well. And I noticed I'm only using Dragonfly, and some of y'all did well last week, and some not so well. I mean, again, so I tell you I would have the regular scrimmage schedule. A lot of schools are asking for things this week and up to the 15th. Like I said, the first game for the public schools can do on the 18th. I got some scrimmage dates, and I'm going to put them on just like I did the other day. But hopefully I'll have all for what they want. Some of them I got requests for a closed scrimmage, whatever that means. I guess the 2 teams, they don't want, that's not for us. That's more or less for, I guess, for the other teams that they're going to have a closed scrimmage. Some administrative things, other than I will tell you for the calendar, like I said, it's standard time now, effective this morning. Tomorrow on Monday, if you did not receive credit, for the NCAA State Rules Clinic, I mean, you didn't go on the 17th on that Monday at Southview High School. If you didn't go on the 25th to Gardner Gibbons, someone went to Duplin on the 18th. If you didn't go to State Rules Clinic, tomorrow, 7 p.m., 7 o'clock, November 7th, you should be on a Zoom call. Now, I have to be on that Zoom call too, because I want to make sure everybody here, that's a requirement you want to do. So, a couple of people called because they accept the games and other groups and different things. You need to be on that call. Now, I only send it out to those individuals who had not received credit. So if you didn't get an email from me on either Saturday or Sunday about the State Rules Clinic, if you're a new official, like I know I talked to someone today, a couple of new people. I know, Lee Troy, you just sent me somebody that didn't get didn't get this email message, just send me the email address. I will send you the link. He sent it out to all 9 regional supervisors, and we're going to forward it out. Again, try to get in there about 15 minutes early in case something goes wrong. Hey, I'll be standing by the phone. Hey, because I got to get you in there where you can listen to about, I think, about 4 to 5 minutes. Because what he's going to go off is, I don't know if you don't have your phone, you're going to have to tell me that prior to you, okay? And that phone number has to be recognizable to him, because he's going to do this here to catch up all the people who have not had the state clinic. So if you're calling in on your phone, just send me a text message and everything else, and I will get those numbers and make sure I send it to Cecil Mott prior to or right after the phone call to say, look, these individuals, and when you send me that on your phone, just hey, put your name on it. Well, make sure, again, because he told on the email that he sent the regional supervisors, he basically put up there that, hey, make sure they have from their computer, whatever the name is, no nicknames and stuff like that. If you calling in, are you going to call in from someone else? Or just right now, if I'm looking at your thing tonight and it's your wife's name, your son's name, it's on your daughter's, whatever the case may be, if it's not your name on that monitor that he sees, it's going to be hard for him to give you credit. So make sure you do that. So again, any questions on that? 7 o'clock tomorrow, it starts. Look, and hey, thanks, Litor. And again, guys, let's take care of that administrative thing. I don't want to be, a week from now saying you were on the call and you weren't. If you can't be there for some particular reason, hey, let me know beforehand. Okay. Hopefully, maybe he'll get a chance. Maybe he'll record it and play it back. But right now, if you didn't get anything from me, and you've already been on Dragonfly, that means you got credit. All right. That's tomorrow. Also, for those, the Cumberland County Middle School has their soccer strength matches. Now, when it's matches, their strength games, soccer. Now they playing at 3:30. So, guys, if you involved with that, you still got time to get to 7 o'clock thing. So that's because of standard time. Also, what else tomorrow? The soccer is also the soccer's 3rd round of their playoffs. They playing on Monday and Thursday. They playing their 3rd round playoff games. On Tuesday, the 8th, many of you have already done it, but that is election day. If you haven't done, hey, please go out and do so. Do your civic duty by voting. I'm gonna, for those of you, I'll probably be having a football meeting that night to talk about a little bit about the postseason. This will be this Friday. This Friday should be our 2nd round, but for all those weather persons, they know I got calls already this morning, text messages about people possibly moving their football 2nd round playoff game to Thursday. Okay, to Thursday. So if they do that, it's going to affect some of all of us. So when you do your closeout, make sure, hey, Thursday we need to be playing football on Thursday. But that 2nd round is on Friday. So I'll probably have a meeting. And for those that do football, we're going to talk about the 3rd round and going thereafter. On Wednesday, we have quite a few, I have at least about 20 football officials that did a lot of volleyball. Cumberland County is having this volleyball strength matches on Wednesday, the 9th, and they're going to play at the same time at 4 o'clock. They're inside, so they're going to play at 4 o'clock. You've got those assignments. Just make sure you know where, if anything changes, I'll know tomorrow. And speaking of that, on Thursday, on the 9th, on the 10th, there is, Cumberland County have not given me the matchups for the strength football games, but I would suspect those games, because they're not playing on the lights, they may be as early as 3:30, and they're going to, right now, they plan on Thursday, and that's going to be 7 games. So that's 28 officials there that'll be working that. So we got a lot of moving parts, like I say, this week. And that leads us to the weekend. Of course, this is Veterans Day weekend. We have several. Clinton has a jamboree. Fairmont has a jamboree. St. Paul's Jamboree is going to be on Monday, the 14th. There are games on Friday because Friday is a non-school day, I assume, for all the surrounding areas, but I know it is for Bladen County. They have a scrimmage at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's several on Friday. So make sure, again, when you do your closeouts, if you're available, some of those scrimmages, when they come out on tomorrow evening, I will let you know if there's going to be multi-teams. Most of the scrimmages during the week are just probably primarily going to be 2 teams, especially if it's in the evening. Some of you are able to go in the morning, some is able to go in the afternoon, but whatever your availability is, make sure, like I said, I'll put that out. A good job on Saturday for those that came out. Again, also on Friday. The O'Neill School had 3 scrimmages, had the JV boys, the varsity girls, and the varsity boys. The scrimmage, pretty much, there was just 2 teams and 2 different gyms. In Freedom, they did several teams, and because they had a jamboree, and they had both played Friday and Saturday. Get a good job of people who want to go to the scrimmage, either the referee or someone on that call and sent me a message, or you text me, and I went back in and gave you credit. I mean, for Anthony Purcell, Dwight Shepard, those guys came out and helped. Pete Jones, a lot of people came and said, look, is it okay to go? If you tell me you're going, guys, it's the honor system. The referee will come back and say, look, hey, these are the individuals. But when you go, make sure we go in there to work. All right, Alan Banks, I appreciate that. He just gave me some of the records and stuff like that for the middle school. So again, but there's scrimmages on there's a jamboree on the 14th, that Monday. Anson is having some on the 15th. I think, like I said, E.E. Smith was playing this week. 71st is probably going to play. Some of them said Overhills requested for a couple of officials to come out and talk to their basketball teams. They said they didn't want to do it after the football. Well, guess what? They lost Friday night. So if you're over in that area, I would probably send Daryl Page and 1 or 2 other guys come on, we can go over there. We're going to tell them how we're going to call the game. All right. So we get to know, I mean, I don't want you to just go over there. I'm going to send someone I want to go, I'll go. And these are the things I'm going to give you some things I want you to highlight, and anything else, answer their questions. I would ask that you take your rules book and case book. Again, let's not guess. Let's not tell them something that we're not sure of. We know what illegal contact is. We know what the forearm is. We know what 2 hands on the person is. I would ask that some of you we had some great discussion there on last Thursday about intentional fouls, flagrant fouls, those type of things. I mean, making a play on the ball. When you're going at the end of the game situation, when we say we want to foul, some of them say, look, we want to go for the steal, then we're going to foul. Don't let that foul be excessive. All right, excessive, we're going to punish them. We're going to address and punish 100% of misconduct. All right, we want teammates to talk to teammates, but now, like I say, we get one opportunity to set the tone. I mean, we're going to do it early. Now, I'd rather call it tight early and loosen up, because it's hard when it's got out of control. They didn't tighten it up. On Saturday, like I say, quite a few of jamborees, and there's going to be some scrimmages, but the bulk of them going to be probably from Wednesday through. Especially, I expect some, if we don't have, if the rain causes many of our games to be played football on Thursday, that leaves Friday, and some of them out of school, and I think they're going to load up. But I'll get as many scrimmages that I know of and put out there. Now, I've made it, East Bladen has a scrimmage. I've signed 6 people to that scrimmage, and the referee's already things out. Hey, look, make sure you respond to the referee. They tell you, because what they're trying to do is to make sure everybody get adequate time on the floor. All right, show up on time. And one thing is that if you're not going to be there when the referee asks you to be there, and they say this like we do in the regular season, if you're going to be late to the pregame, you call the referee. If you're going to be late to the assignment, you need to call me. Okay, the referee calls me, I should be calling the referee. If you're going to be late to the game, you don't tell the referee, hey, can you call there? No, I want to hear from you, because they're not going to give you the 20 questions. They're not going to do that. They're not going to take you off the game. I may redirect you to somewhere else and move that, but that's my decision. That's not the referee's decision. I want them, they focus on the people that's going to be there. Because again, they took the time to say, hey, who's going to work this then? Because again, we had some of those teams out there, it's not that you're not ready. We want to make sure when you go to court that you are ready. So again, they will make a decision whether somebody's going to shadow someone or they're going to, I'll take that. The game gets out of hand again like that. Now, the scrimmage format belongs to the school. We don't matter whatever format they want to use. They want to shoot free throws. They want to do 16-minute run and halves. They want to do 5 minutes. They want to go to game situations. The scrimmage is a 2-hour session. That's what we're gonna get them. We're gonna work hard that 2 hours. When they get down to the jamborees on this weekend, when we have a jamborees, multiple teams, I will try to get a classroom there. I will always have at least one person there, hopefully serve as an observer. And if the referee or somebody want to take somebody back in the room and go over a couple of plays with them and see something, especially those train wrecks, things that we could do better, guys. And that's what it is, about getting better. So when somebody bring you to the side and, hey, let's go here. We're not there to put you out on Front Street and just say, look here, this, that. But again, the thing is to learn. So again, for those jamborees, I'm going to coordinate with all those schools and see can we get a classroom somewhere where we can go give a back brief, or when that new crew is coming in, the other can go out there and have, like say, a post-game, post-scrimmage type session. Anything else about this week as far as pertaining to, I'll have this, when I get all the scrimmages, I suspect it's going to be something come up at the last minute because some of these coaches know each other. I'm going to try to do something a little different this year. Say, hey, all the new coaches, if they are going to a scrimmage setting, I will try to get them, kind of welcome them to that, because I like, just like they would like to know us, we have our pictures out there on the our photos. When they see us, they know we're coming. I like to know who they are. But they also several coaches changes this year. We have some teams that don't have varsity girls teams. Berean didn't have a varsity girls team. Who else? We got Village doesn't have a varsity girls team. They got a new varsity men's coach. There's been several changes. So I'm gonna list those as, but it's good when you go there and the coach, even though they introduce themselves, they kind of know who they are. It seems like we're prepared. We know who the coach is and everything else. Again, when we go to the scrimmage, the jamborees this weekend, even at the scrimmage, ask who the game day administrator. Again, we have to remove someone from the game for flagrant contact or whatever the reason it is on ejection. They're done for that day, player or coach. Okay, we don't not really worry about the spectators of that particular thing, but if it is, we'll get them removed. Anybody got any questions about times about what's going on this week? The 7th, tomorrow. If you haven't went to the state rules clinic, that's what it's going to get credit tomorrow. Now, a couple of you, I went to Cardinal Gibbons, and I made sure most has already got annotated. If I saw you there, I mean, I saw most of the people there from our association. The ones who weren't, I made sure I already talked to Melissa Knight and gave her a couple of names that were not on there. They didn't get credit, but I know you were there. So I didn't send you an email. So if you didn't get an email message from me, because I went right down there and clicked all the people that had not been given credit. That's registered. The test. Now the test was due on Friday the 4th. Now, if you tested, and everybody who took the test so far, as of the 4th, we had only 2 people that failed to score 75. Okay. Now the test is now extended. The new date is the 21st of November. Now, I got a picture of everybody who's taking the test. Those are the people I'm gonna assign the games first. It's not fair to those who make the suspense. Now you have to the 21st, and the 21st, the season starts on the 18th for everybody, for all the public schools. So again, once you make that requirement, you'll start receiving games. All right. I mean, but don't wait to that last week. I would like to have I want everybody done by the 4th, but get it done this week. Now we have the 45 correct answers of the 50. The only thing we didn't look at the video. And we have that out there. I will put that out there. And that's again, but I still want you to kind of go through that and just don't go down all the above, and you just get the right answers. I mean, I want you to score 90 above, but you need to know what the work looks like. But there's no excuse now for anybody not to take the test and not to pass the test with a 90 point or higher score. Okay, so the new test is the 21st. So if anybody come up, the registration is still open. The only thing they won't be able to make up is the state rules clinic, which they have to see tomorrow. But so anybody that you know of that wants to, hey, just have them contact me. I will make sure they get that link, because there's a couple of you who haven't registered, completed the registration. And Rod Manu, he's on there. But those individuals, I might ask you to stay on the call a little bit after the night if you're new, if you haven't registered, if you haven't completed it. Because all I have to do is send that information to Melissa Knight, and she's going to go and give those first time individuals. If you never called a sport in the NCHSA prior to, they waive your sport fee. You have to pay the $31, but they will the $46 basketball fee, they'll waive that. So the test is got to be done now by the 21st. State Rules Clinic tomorrow, the 7th at 7 p.m. Make sure you got the link. I'll send it to you. And be open for this week, because you're going to have scrimmages this week. Anybody got any questions? All right. A couple of things came up before we get started, and I appreciate those individuals who sent something in. The format. I mean, Chris Leggett, are you on the call? If he's not, I don't know if he's on mute. He sent something in about the format. All right. When we go to the games, I'll put that out when I say that the time. Now, we're going to have a class here. We're going to go through the different rules. I mean, for what we do for NCHSA, but National Federation and the NCAA, both men and women. And we're going to kind of focus on that. Now, the game time is 8 minutes a quarter. Okay, that's what the game time is. Varsity the game is 8 minutes. For middle school, it's 6 minutes quarter. For we play 4 quarters. Half time is 10 minutes. Now I've gotten into stand by. I've talked to some of the conferences going to do some different things. One conference went to Southeastern Conference, and I'm gonna have meetings with them over the period of this week, probably this weekend, because that's where they're gonna be hosting a couple of the jamborees. They're going to go to a 6-minute regulation. They're going to go to 6 minutes on that JV game, but they want to play regulation. Again, I'm gonna get a couple of crews there. We're gonna do that game. I'm gonna send a crew out there, probably an experienced crew, to do a game. Because again, they're not gonna. I don't think I can play that game. And there's no game I sign. I think I can play an hour. I mean, just being realistic. I mean, they just playing a regulation 6 minutes with the fouls, the violations, and everything else. We play that game. 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minute halftime, 6 minutes, 6 minutes. The other team get to warm up 10 minutes, come in. So I want to be realistic. If they're going to play at 4, 5:15, or 4, 5:30, I mean, 4 then 5:30, then 7 and 8:30, whatever it is. I don't want that crew coming in on that third game. That's second set of officials should not come in and have to wait. Be up there an hour and a half before they get on the court. So they might have to adjust their start times. So I will probably ask 3 of you to say, look, what I'm gonna do is send you out there, just call the game. Not, we're gonna call what needs to be called. I don't want you trying to get through the game, because you know at 4 o'clock, I gotta hurry and get this game over in an hour. We're gonna officiate, not the time, we're gonna officiate to standard. Okay, that's what we're gonna do things. So the format is 8 minutes, 6 minutes. Now, some schools may ask for 7 minutes, may ask for less. Okay, I'm going to try to have all that to you before we start the season. But right now, they're doing some different things. Well, we're going to play 7-minute quarters. I was in an AD meeting on Thursday with the Sandhills, and they was doing the same things. Some of them going to start that whole conference. They're going to pay 5 o'clock for the girls, 6:30 for the boys. Some JVs going to have 3-person, some going to have 2-person. I will lay that all out to everybody. All right. What conference, so you know when you go. But whatever you do, we'll play the game. You're not going to play no more than 8. We're going to play the game, and all you do is send me a message. So someone want to go change the rules as they go. But you'll know, I got a presentation thing, when I'll send it to you, and you'll know what conference you're going when you go there. If it's a conference game, non-conference game, this is the rules they're going to play by. Okay, so you'll have that. But right now, it's 8 minutes for the junior varsity and varsity, 6 minutes for middle school. Anybody got any questions? Time.
Hey guys, I started sending out who was missing stuff late last night. I'll finish that up tonight before I go to bed so that we can get everybody approved. Most people are approved with this, have met all the state requirements. The majority of what we are missing at this point are pictures on profiles for people who are new to you haven't done football. If you're a football official, yours was done before basketball. But if you're a basketball only official, make sure you have a picture on Dragonfly. And then also, if you are a basketball only official, make sure you have registered and you have paid your $20 to the association. At this point, I'm getting that update on a daily basis. So as soon as that they receive your check or your registration, I get it. So but if you are at this point, you do not, Kevin, to answer your question, you do not have to pay $20 for each sport. You pay $20 for one calendar year. So
Right.
It's good for the sports season. So if you pay now, it's good till June 1st, and then it starts over. So I'll be working on getting that done. If you have questions, then let us know. Errol, correct me if I'm wrong. The question was asked, how many scrimmages do you need? The minimum is 3. Is that still the story?
No, it's not the story. That's the answer. A minimum of 3. Some of you can need to do 23, but that's okay. Look at, so if you go out there, hey, we want everybody to feel good, but that's the minimum. You're gonna get the minimum is 3. All right. And again, like I say, if you give 2 and everybody say, well, I haven't got this, look here, I will tell you, but you can always ask. I'll tell you what, and I appreciate that when some people do. They want to make sure, look, so hey, I've only got 2, and I'll take it back. So we could be working a scrimmage. Now, Robert, what was that last chat? Let's see here.
The problem is right now, Dragonfly does not allow us to notify you by the actual scrimmage or game, if it's a game or scrimmage. It just comes up.
No, but Don, here's let me tell you something. Here's how to do that. The scrimmage, if you go to a game and there's no fee associated with it, that's a scrimmage. Nobody in the association works for free. All right. So if you don't know, I will sign a jamboree scrimmage is no fee. Now, if you work in a public school, between now, the public school cannot have a game until the 18th. Private schools play Friday night, real game. One school got 30, they got 30 games because it's not, a public school can only have 23 games. They have a limit on what they can do, and to include tournaments and those kind of things. But again, guys, when you leave your home, my thing is to get you all the requirements. I'm not going to have somebody do 5 or 6, especially if you're ready to go. Now, some people are going to work a real game probably before they work scrimmage game. But we're going to get them in, guys, and be in fairness. I mean, because again, and I don't want to bring people too far. That's why I'm waiting for, and like I say, I got 1 scrimmage so far in Bladen County, but I know the women's, West Bladen is going to play Jack Britt on the holiday, on the Friday. The boys going to play. So I'm trying to, so those that don't think they're going to get scrimmage, I'm going to get them. I want to get them in your area. And some I'm bringing it down for different reasons, for different time. But again, for the most part, I know because it's not cost effective for you to drive that far. I'm going to try. So if you get people, normally you're going to get a scrimmage in your area. I don't have anything right now. The closest I had the Richmond County and Moore County was O'Neill. And they did that Friday night, and we got football going. We got different things going. So again, I'll try to get you somewhere in your area. Scotland's still playing. Terry Sampson's still playing football. I mean, it's the second round Thursday. So I assume we're gonna have now I shouldn't say the boatload, but we're gonna have several more last minute come up. Several more are gonna come up after, especially we play Thursday. Being Friday, I know it's gonna be some last minute. Hey, Earl, can we get one for tomorrow? It's gonna be, look, do you have anybody here? So again, be open to moving around. I'm gonna get, I think the most I had, I don't know, Al McCrae's on the line. He tell me how many people we had at Pembroke yesterday, but we had several people. I put it out there. They went out there, and the referees got them on the court, let them work. But the key thing is that everybody to get 3 scrimmages. Now, this is scrimmages total. Now, so later on, they're gonna be, I know, in the middle school, and they have 2 scrimmages we have at Spring Hill Middle. They'll do that. I will make sure you get the scrimmages. If I have to, some, like I say, some schools that have a request that an official or to come over and work with their players and just answer some questions. What they want to know, is this a foul? Most of the time, yes. But they will ask, what's this here? What's that? And you go over there and we kind of help them out. I would give you credit for doing that. Because again, I mean, that's going to come up. I know several teams have asked, and they're just waiting right now to figure out what time they're going to finish. They're doing their tryouts right now. They've only been going a week. Anything else? If not, no. See, Vincent asked the question. Now, if you go to right now, they setting this up. A scrimmage is a 2-hour session. They got it broke up in games. So if you got back to back, that's one scrimmage. So that's like 6 games. Sorry, and then time's over. But again, so a scrimmage is a 2-hour session. It's not 1 hour. 1 hour, that's a game. But I say they determine the format. But I don't want 3 people to work the entire 2 hours time frame constantly. Because most time they do an hour and a half, they do a game, they do an hour, they go get a few minutes, let the team warm up. You all have a quick thing. Because what I want to do is the referee, or just a group get together and kind of good post game. This is what we did on this particular play. There's always some plays that you have a question about. And again, not to get somebody else area, look at on this here. Again, when you do something, acknowledgement is 50% of it. When you acknowledge, look, kind of out of position. Hey, whether I messed this rotation up, where I should have switched, hey, the bump and run. Hey, again, guys, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, how can you adjust during the game? Because that's what the teams are doing. How can we do things better in the high leverage moments? In the fourth quarter, are we still making the same mistakes in the third quarter we're making in the first quarter? All right, we want to make, again, because that's when they ask, well, the crew did this and this. And I asked the coaches, Coach, do you make adjustments during the game? Do you go to halftime? Sometimes we do the same thing. If we were officiating this play not correctly, hey, we're going to adjust to it. We want to get it right. Just because we may not doing it right in the first quarter, hey, that don't mean, hey, we're going to make adjustments to it. And I tell them that. So again, I want you to do it. Well, we're going to stick with that, keep doing it wrong because we did it wrong in the first. No, we're not going to do that. So now, those of you, I'm going to open up for a few minutes. Those of you who had scrimmages was there. I mean, for those who, right, what do you have to share with the group? I mean, just not calling no names, but as an association, I mean, now what can you share with what you liked, what we did well, or what we need to work on? And you saw, because again, we saw private schools, public schools, I mean, playoff teams, non-playoff teams. Anybody got anything for share for the good of the group? Anybody that was at Freedom? And we was at Freedom Friday night and Saturday. We used both courts over there.
Hey, Earl, that's Pete. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, I was at Freedom Saturday, and I just want to say, Mr. Larry and Mr. Horace, both of them did a great job of helping us on the floor. I mean, Mr. Larry took his time out to pull you to the side and tell you what you were doing wrong and explain it to you in a way that you could understand what he was talking about. You know, he did a real good job with us, working with us on the floor, about being in position, making sure you're making the right calls, right signals, knowing the play, knowing what the consequences were behind each action that we did on the floor. He did a great job Saturday.
Now, Pete Jones sent me a message on Friday, and I put him on. He came from Whiteville to the clinic. Larry Morrissey, who he's talking to, Larry Morrissey and Horace Small. Larry Morrissey told me he could help out on Saturday. He wasn't scheduled. Horace Small said, hey, he was available. Those three individuals were not even on the schedule, and they all and that's how they got on the games. Guys, like I said, we have some good officials, and that's what it is, helping each other. So I appreciate that, Pete. I mean, but all those, Pete came from Whiteville, like Herman Lewis came from Whiteville. Larry Morrissey wasn't on the games initially. He came to, I'll help out. Again, guys, that's what, when I just put the schedule out there, guys, when you want to go somewhere and you want to work, I'm going to, and if Larry told me, Anthony Purcell came, Dwight Shepard said he was going out to work. He was closed out, but he said, look, I'm going to go over there and work. He came back and told me what games he worked. Pine Forest, guys, that's what it's going to take, especially this first week. And I say that because with football and everything else going, all the middle schools, Sampson County, I'd have left them out. They're playing their strength games on their game on this Wednesday. And we also have a championship game in Scotland County. They playing at 6 o'clock at Scotland at the high school. So there's a lot of people. And I understand, guys. So whatever you missed, like just like tonight, whatever you miss, and we do a Zoom call, you're gonna be able to play it back. Because I want you to get the information. All right. Anybody else got anything from Freedom? If not, we move over to Pembroke.
Yeah, Earl, can you hear me?
Yes, Larry.
Yeah, I was over at Freedom. And overall at Freedom, what I saw on both courts, we really need to crack down on primary coverage areas, reporting, going over stopping, reporting, make a call on the baseline. We done ran to half court with our hands up instead of standing there with your hands up, taking a step forward and identifying to the player. We're running with our hand in the air and then stopping. We can't do that. We got to look professional, slow down, stop, report. I saw that on both courts. It wasn't happening. Also, I want to mention this. We are getting all kinds of information about the shortage of referees. Two things: pay, which we'd never get paid enough, and the other thing that we can somewhat control is the attitudes of the spectators, the fans, and the coaches. We were supposed to call those scrimmage games the way we call a real game, and that means I got a real good whoop of how we're gonna call the real games, because we were still allowing coaches to come all the way out of their box, all over the court, yelling, and we're the cause of that. We have got to stop that. We have that warning that we can give them that warning. Give them that warning instead of just allowing these guys to do things and one day run someone out of refereeing, which we truly need. And we're causing that ourselves, running ourselves out, because we have the control of that. Penalize it. We have that. Okay. But the guys I work with, they all did a fine job. They had a great attitude. They were very receptive. And that is what it's going to take for you to learn how to call this difficult game. That's it, Earl.
All right, thanks, Larry. And thanks for what you did. I mean, again, like I said, Larry just sent a message and I put him on 2 games, he went over there. And we had guys, like I say, we got several guys that's coming back. Guys, again, this is the time, like I say, when you say the minimum and you know, what I have to do, some people, that's what they're going to do. Some people going to do the minimum. Right? Once they get their 3, they done. Once they just, and I got that. I understand that. And you'll let me know that without telling me that. All right, because like, but again, we're going to get there. And what Larry's saying is that, and we'll talk about it later on. But again, those that came out on last Thursday, we did a little running, did a little calisthenics. Before we did that, we did an hour session upstairs. Then we went down in the gym for about an hour. we're going to do that. What Larry's saying about practicing, whether it's a toss at the beginning of the game, knowing where to be. And I tell you guys, again, we're going to be perfect in our sets. I mean, you're going to know where to go. And if you don't, you're going to ask somebody, because when you go on the floor, again, judgment will come. The more plays you're going to see, the better you're going to get. Now, we're going to kind of go through this slideshow. It's going to tell you about the differences. And some of this is going to be the rule references now. Some of y'all, I will probably call on to read certain things. Some of the things we just talked about, just like with the quarters. Again, a lot of times, guys, we take a lot of things for granted. I went to a couple of games last year where they went to overtime, and we didn't put the right amount of time on the clock. All right, for overtime. This is not the NCAA. This is not the NBA. Hey, this is, I mean, this is the NFHS. And sometimes, guys, they're going to go. So, hey, we're going to go through some the warnings and different things. But this chart here, and I'm going to send this to you. All right, you don't have to write it. I'm going to send this to you because you got a lot of your work games at Methodist College for their JV. People work at Fort Bragg. You work Parks and Rec. It's a lot of different rules out there. Okay, it's a lot of different things. But again, this is for the NC, the one on the far left, the NFHS, the warnings and different things. Now, this is just a quick snapshot. We're kind of going to go through this here, and I'm going to send this to every person. You're going to have everybody who's in that email. If you got to email this now, you didn't get the email, just send it to me. But I'm going to send this to you. You'll have this. All right. It's the administrative warnings. It's about kind of in alphabetical order. This is what the difference in the 2022-23 between the NCHSA and NFHS. That's a major basketball rules difference. You see that? Issue for non-major administrative warnings. The coaching box rule. All right. And those are some of the things. Disrespectfully addressing an official. Now, that's disrespectfully addressing an official can be, it can go straight to a disqualification. That's one of the 7 deadly sins, according to that. Now, if it's profanity in there, not only be disrespectfully addressing an official, but that's also going to be an ejection for profanity. And you see what it says in there: the attempt to influence official decision, inciting what? Undesirable crowd reaction. Now, they just throwing their hands up, trying to get them all hyped up and all like that. That's not undesirable. But you know what that is, man. They're trying to get them to, when they throw their hand, just wave you off or do stuff like that. That's what it's. And what Larry just mentioned, entering the court without permission. I mean, outside, or standing at the team bench, that's outside the team bench. All right. We know where in North Carolina, we give them 28 feet. From the end line all the way down to 28-foot line. That's 28 feet. They got more than enough room. They can go to the end line. All right. We have that warning. That's an administrative warning. Let's use that. You see, we talked about that the other night, about the blood contacts and all that. Player with blood director leave the game. May remain in the game, with a charge timeout. Now, last week we talked about this. Remember, Wayne Lassane, a couple of guys came down. What about this? It's right in there. And that's been what? They can buy what? If they directly leave the game for what? With the blood, right? See, also they said, if you've been in games like that before where the contacts come out, they lost or they irritated, they call a timeout, we stop the game on a dead ball, get water throw in, and it says right there, player with lost or irritated contacts may remain in the game with a reasonable time to correct. And that's when you're going to get the feel of a game. The game been going, people been playing basketball the right way. We get a little bit of time. If there's no set, well, how much time, coach? We wait, because again, the things we call what for you, we're gonna call against you. The things. So again, that player, if coach having the second, third time, but just be reasonable. Just tell the coach that, coach, we're gonna do the same thing for him. All right. Bonus free throws. Here we got the 1-and-1 bonus on the 17th foul. And we could go in there. We're gonna go in there and talk about the offensive foul, but that's when they do it on the 17th foul. We shoot a 1-on-1. The double bonus on the 10th team foul. All right. Team fouls reset. End of the first half. Guys, when you go in for halftime, you go out there and out there, you verify the score at halftime, you go get your jackets from the table. If it's a JV game, whatever the case may be. When you tell them, you make sure when you go in, they set that clock back to what? 10, and it's running. Don't just at halftime go right into the locker room. Don't leave the court to hey, when them players leave the court, you have that clock set. Make sure that clock is running. And go ahead, at that time, go ahead and make sure they reset. It should be at the end of the first half, the foul should be 0-0. If they're doing any good, come back out there and it's 10, or sometimes it's going to be 11. It should never get higher than 10. All right. You see what it says about coaching box size? State adoption for ours, that's the maximum. And we allow the maximum. We got 28-foot box. That's the maximum we have. That's allowable in the Federation, and that's what we allow here in the state of North Carolina. All right, now here's the good part. How do you lose the right to use that coaching box? Loss of use. Again, we don't tell coaches to sit down. What they've done is what? They've lost their use of the coaching box. You can use the word privilege coach. You've lost your coaching box privilege. Now, if you say that to them, they're gonna look at you like you got a third eye. What does that mean? Coach, you must remain seated for the remainder of the contest. You must have a seat, right? But we don't tell them, Coach, you need to sit down. Coach, you got to, no. And this is what, if a head coach is charged with a direct or indirect technical, all right, they lose their coaching box privilege. And I'll tell you, and Larry talking about mechanics and stuff, guys, we're gonna go through the mechanics of how we're gonna do that. Because what I don't want you to do is have a conversation with the coach when he's supposed to be sitting down. Coach, once you have a seat, Coach, I'll talk to you. Because again, the word's going to be the same. I mean, we got some coaches that are 6'8", 6'9", they're towering over you. They want to talk to you. And hey, I'm going to sit down. No, Coach. How about, please, I'm asking you, Coach. I mean, once they sit down, hey, they got a question. Hopefully, the other person already called a technical foul. They're going to go to what? Opposite. The other person's going to go administer a free throw. And you have no problem with that. Hey, all I said was this. Understand? Okay. Because remember now, you know what they're asking. We only going to answer questions. What did I say, Coach? You received a technical foul. How about sit down? Because again, in this, once we put the ball in play and start doing that, get back, that goes away. But I don't have a conversation while the coach standing up when he should be sitting. All right, but that's what it is. You get an indirect or direct charge technical foul. They've lost the use of the privilege box for the coaching box for the evening. Then we got the delay of game warnings. Now, those are one of the four. We'll talk about those later on. That's what one warning for any of the 4 delay of game situations. And it's subsequent. I mean, anything thereafter, at the time after you give a delay of game warning, the subsequent delay for any of the 4 results in what? A technical foul. Disqualification, ejection. Now, we're going to show that probably next week. The next time we'll go through that on Dragonfly, how we're going to submit that. That is, disqualification is the 5th foul. Somebody that's called DQ. We don't have to fill any paperwork for that. But the 5 personal fouls and technical fouls. You get 1 technical foul and 4 other fouls. Hey, that's just straight disqualification. No report required. But if you have 2 technical fouls, you're going to have to do a report. Or you have an ejection. And most time on ejection, the rule of thumb is if it's one act, if you can do one thing based on that one single act, if you remove them from the game, that's an ejection. All right. But when this year, anytime we remove them, even 2 technical fouls, we're going to always tell them that's an ejection. And if they don't like it, they can just look. They can call the regional supervisor. All right. Your instructions, both from the NCAA and the state, but NCAA and the association, local association, is all disqualifications. We're going to report them as an ejection. All right. And then we'll get together. I'll notify them if they want to call me what it is. Okay. But if it's a single act, they get you, because you can be sitting on a technical foul and you have 4 fouls total, 1 on the technical and 3 common fouls. If you do a single act, hey, that still can end up in ejection. So if it's a flagrant foul, you feel like, hey, well, that was his 5th foul anyway. We had a situation come up last year. Well, but then that was his 5th foul anyway. But guess what? That act caused him to be ejected. All right. We got other things where player participates after DQ, ejection. We will tell you about the different things. And they'll give you the same thing about the replacement interval. We'll go through that when the player fouls out. What is the proper procedure? You know, notifying the coach, starting notifying the score timer, and then notifying the player. We're going to kind of go through that mechanics. All right, we got the double foul. This is what it always does. Point of interruption for all double fouls. Fighting, this is one word there for fighting, guys. Ejection. And I'll send you, because I want you to look in your rules book and terminology and look what constitutes a fight. Everybody need to know what the definition. That's one thing I share with all the coaches when I talk to them, to let them know. Many people think as society that it takes two to fight. It does not take that in sports. Not a national federation. You know, you can kick at somebody, swing at somebody. It doesn't matter. One person just, hey, it don't take but one. All right. So I'm gonna write that down. Know the definition of fighting. I mean, out of the book. I mean, I want you to know it. All right. Those are the types of fouls. And we got all those. A lot of those are on the test. Again, when you say the personal fouls, technical fouls, a lot of things in there. Intentional, technical, we got flagrant, personal, all those which zones are contact, non-contact. We'll go that in more detail. Those are the different types of foul and what it counts toward. A lot of times prior to the game, somebody dunking pregame, or there's something, an administrative technical in the book for something, people always ask, the scores will ask, does that count toward the team count? You need to know that. That's what it is right there. Like when I send it to you, I want you to lead, kind of keep this sheet, especially everything in that left hand. That's what we do, because people gonna see some different things in the different levels. Those are the things that counts toward the foul count, and it makes a difference when you get the 1-on-1 and when the bonus, and also when you double bonus. Okay, so know the difference. And a lot of times people get what? They get a common foul, then they get a technical foul right back to back, because they're actually throwing the ball or saying something or whatever the case may be. So understand, because sometimes you have two people reporting. One person called a common foul and they go to report, and the player does X afterwards that, then now we got both. And they both count. Sometimes that's the fifth and the other foul, but they both got to be counted as in the team foul. We talked about this a little bit on Thursday night about the free throw injured. I think Al McRae brought that up. Hey, normal substitution. We talked about that. Who shoots the free throw and everything else. I want to say, guys, these things happen in the game, so we got to know that. Go ahead and continue, John. We talked about these things. Goaltending. And I think who said that? Well, I don't know. I think Daryl Jenkins probably told us. We talked about what is downward flight. Key thing is that now when you read the goaltending and read it in the book, it says what? Downward flight entirely above the basket. One thing about that, guys, and when you talk about that, that's why when you're the sea or the trail, that's, hey, we talked about when we toss the ball, it's got to be what? When you measure the distance as far as how much air and how much, because certain parts of the floor sometimes we call dead spots or flat spots. If we start at what, 6 feet at the bottom of the ball, it says here, that ball what? On a downward flight entirely above the basket level and has the possibility of entering the basket. So again, because again, when you call it, there's that lead should not be able to offer you really any help on that. I mean, if he does, it's in the locker room, it's in 3/4, because that's your call. He's not looking up, right? Or she's not looking up, that lead. So that trail, hey, you got to be able to ascertain that. Like I say, when you close down, but we talked about goaltending. And that's a lot of things, times that, hey, the ball to get there, and it's entirely, and that's why you got to use that terminology. The downward flight, it should be what? Entirely above the basket. Right here we talk about the game clock, the length of the quarter periods and half. National Federation, 4 8-minute quarters. All right, here we go, length of overtime. Now here's what it is. Now this is NFHS. So it's half of whatever quarter. We playing 8-minute quarters. The overtime is 4 minutes. So I play with 5, so I play with 3. All right. If you're in a middle school game, they play about 6-minute quarters. You go to 3. It's going to be half of the time that the quarters are. That's why I say we don't play. I mean, so if they plan, I mean, some schools, like they played the 60-minute running halves, they did that, but it's a National Federation high school game. So what? It should be played, what? 4 8-minute quarters. So we play 4 minutes. So it's 4 minutes unless it's middle school, it's 3 minutes. All right. So that's what the rules are. All right. Here we got deflection under a minute. What we got about here, we have no rule because sometimes they got what? But we do have what? To get the shot off. To have a shot, we have to have what's the time limit? I think they got it in the next 0.03. All we can have is what? Is that a tap?
Tap.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So again, if it deflected under a minute, okay, that is, we have no rule, but what it's a, look over to that. No, it's got to be what? No less than what? 0.03. All we can have. That's 7 point. If that zero in there, but 0.3. Some clock's not going to have what? It's going to be 1 second. It's going to go to 0. Some of them actually count down in tenths, like it is right there. It's right there. They'll count down when it gets down to 1 minute. When they go there, it's going to be 59.9, and it's going to all the way down just like that. So that's why I say always know when that whistle goes off, somebody can look, status of the ball, status of the clock. All right. Stop the clock after a successful field goal. Again, guys, you're going to get in the game sometime where they're going to score a basket. And it's going to be 5 seconds. They score a basket, and the guy's going to get the ball. They don't even have to throw it in. So don't give them delay the game. Don't blow the whistle, an inadvertent whistle, then try to run the clock out. So know that, because again, that last time out, look, I understand, if they score the ball, that basket scores, they in this 5 seconds, I've seen a team do that, a smart team. Someone got the ball going to the basket, and they didn't go get the ball. They was walking off the floor because they didn't have to, because you got 5 seconds to throw it in when they got the basket. So again, know that. Don't inadvertently stop the clock at the field goal. All right. After a successful field goal, unless we got a foul. All right. Guarding the airborne defender, exception close to guarding, we got it as either we're going to go at. You can what? How long they can have the ball, that one person. They're holding it, they can hold it for 4 seconds. If you go hold it for 5, we got a 5 second. They can hold it for 4 seconds, they can dribble for 4 seconds close to guard it, then pick it back up and hold it again for another 4 seconds. So the maximum times one person can have the ball doing a close to guarded situation is 12 seconds. But it's got to be 4, 4, 4. Anytime we got 5, and then in that, we're going to have a violation. Yes, we talked about that the other night, except the legal guarding position. And when they say that, we'll get more into detail about maybe established anywhere on the court. We know we have boundary lines, those sidelines and end lines. If you stand on that line, you can't be in a legal guard position because you're not really fully on the court. You're out of bounds. All right, John, you're not asleep, are you? All right, here we go. We got that's the legal guard position. We're going to get that when we get some of these things. We're going to talk about when we get to the, like I say, I'll send this to you and you'll have this. You can print it out, highlight it, do whatever you want to. Or we'll talk about some different things. You're welcome to go and
it's 8 o'clock.
And you can cross-reference this with your mechanics manual. And I'm in the process of getting that. I'll do that this week, get the new mechanics manual online, electronic. I don't have enough. I did get a couple more copies from the state. They sent it to me I got it on yesterday. I got 2 other, but it's not, I'll probably, when I have you run a clinic or do something, I will get those manuals out to certain people. All right, there's the jump ball. We talked about this the other day. I mean, on Thursday, on the jump ball, re-jump must be about players involved before team control is established. What we talked about this at the clinic at Fayetteville Academy the other day, what 2 people, prior to the possession era, the alternating possession being set, if we have another held ball situation. So basically, you have a jump before the alternating possession is set. 2 other individuals, of course, they're going to be off the opposite team. They create a held ball situation. It says right there, re-jump must be by players involved before team control is established.
Chris Leggett has a question.
Go ahead.
Yes, Earl, can you go back to when you was talking about delay of game, I think I heard you were saying like the inverted whistle, be careful with that, something like that. Can you go back there and explain that?
Hey, John,
again?
John, stay back there. John, you stay right there. Don't I'm talking. What I'm talking about is that the inadvertent whistle, because again, when I say that, because what we're gonna have situations is, I mean, even when it comes down, it's gonna come up later as well as we go through this here. When you bring in the ball on an interrupted dribble, something happens in the back, the clock fails to start, and as you coming up, you blow the whistle because people gonna be hollering in the gym most of the time. The clock's not running. The clock's not running. And you stop. You blow that whistle. What you've done, you create an advantage for the offense. And I say that because, again, they have 10 seconds to get the ball to the front court. When you stop the clock, and now you go back, whether you take some time, hey, now you get the team the ball back who had possession, team possession. They have 10 seconds to get the ball back over. All right. On a delay of game, what you have when I say that delay, when a person scores the basket with like 4.5 seconds left, and then they don't stop the clock, you blow it. Now, the only way to start that clock is you got to chop it. Now they got to throw the ball in. What we've been, the team has not even, doesn't even need to throw the ball in, because on a successful basket, the clock does not start. It doesn't stop. So now we put that team at a disadvantage. You say, because now I can foul, I can prolong the game. I can either foul or I can steal the pass. Because once I stop at 4.5, I go back over. I can't say, look, okay, I should have did this. We're gonna run the game's over. No. You stopped it. Hey, now they have to throw the ball in. And when they throw it in, the other team has got the ball. So again, I will say that what you had was an inverted whistle. You blew the ball dead. And once they stopped that clock, we're in the situation now, because now that team has to throw the ball in.
Well, if I'm understanding correctly, because see, let's say if it's a 1-point game,
Yes.
and if I was coaching, and I knew I didn't have timeouts, I would be yelling timeout so you stop the clock and receive the tech purposely to put them on the line.
Right. But and you can. I mean, is that unsporting?
No.
Sure it is. If you call it excess, Charles, we're gonna give it to you, because the other team does what though? They get to get 2 free throws and they get the ball back at the division line.
Right, but
Huh?
I'm just looking at, to stop the clock. That was the reason why.
No, but see, to stop the clock, you got to create it. Hey, but again, I'm glad you brought it up. Now we know, see, when he said something about the word there's no such thing as games management. Now we've already know, me, Chris Leggett, and Daryl Page on the floor. We know what coach from the team in blue doesn't have any timeouts left, right?
Right.
I mean, you're going to hear that, right? You're going to hear him calling timeout.
Right.
People can call timeout all day. What if he doesn't have? Hey, he doesn't have the ball. He doesn't have it. Hey, sometimes we know he could call a timeout, but if we know they're not authorized, now he can call a timeout. You can hear it, and somebody, what if you don't hear it? Right. I mean, sometimes I've been that way. Every time the ball's on loose on the floor, a lot of times they start calling timeout. We're looking for what? Player, but they can call timeout at any time they want to. It's when we grant it. Now, I would say, if he's come run out there when everybody can see, timeout, we give him a timeout. But to me, that's unsporting behavior. We're going to give him just excessive. He got excessive timeout. We're going to give it to him. And then we're going to do what? We're going to do our things. But to me, I consider that unsporting. You call it a timeout you know you don't have. I know you're trying to win the game. But the kicker is that the other team gets to go down there, shoot the 2 free throws, and get the ball back at the division line. I mean, and he said what? So it's still going to be their ball, and they can throw it anywhere. But what we do, if we stop it though, Chris, I mean, we blow the whistle, they underneath their own basket, because we can't move the ball like they do in the NBA. We can't move it to the division line. So that's the advantage. But again, some teams because the coach will tell them, look, the ball goes in 5 seconds, don't even go touch it. And I was at there with a person, they just scored. And as they walked on the field, it looked bad because everybody said, hey, stop the clock. They were saying it because they thought the clock had to stop. But again,
Just
if they
looking
want
at us finishing the game. That's what I was just looking at us finishing the game all the way to the last
That's right.
second. If they
Right.
had a chance to win, we got to
again,
finish the game.
right. And I would tell you this here: if you're in that situation where you know that team has a timeout, someone should be doing what? Looking over to a coach.
Oh, yeah,
Because again,
sure.
that's
They
why
had a
they situation
timeout.
where. That's why I say if he has it, but even if he don't, I mean, again, we know what he's trying to do. We
Right.
know, and I say, look, hey, but if he don't, I was calling timeout. Well, okay, coach, because it's time in the game, he's calling timeout. You don't hear. I've seen people, hey, when it's get time in a close to what, a 5-second count, they holding the ball, whether it's be out of bounds or throw in, a lot of times. I guess that was buzzing. All right, but so it's times where you know when the ball, let's say on a throw in, when it gets to about 3 seconds in reality, if I'm not there, if I'm across the court, I can look at the coach. I can look, and we're gonna go over that about having a situation awareness. You know, because we don't want to create a turnover. But when a team has no timeouts, I'm kind of position myself to look at the play because he don't have any timeouts. So that's what we tell each other, coach. That was your last timeout. You have 0. We tell each other partners. But again, well, because we know that's going to be, because what happens when he says timeout and he didn't have any, he just told me I didn't have none left. Why'd you do that? Well, coach, you call for it. I mean, so again, but if it's strategy, but it's going to happen. I would rather, especially if the team can't shoot free throws, but that's why they get the ball what? At the division line. They're going to get 2 shots and they're going to get the ball at the division line. Yeah, thanks, Mike, for that. I saw you laughing. All right. All right. Non-playing personnel. All right. Now, this is one. Hey, guys, this is one we got to do better on. I mean, we got a lot of small, we got the gyms, we got packed gyms. Whiteville playing West Columbus. Hey, Midway playing Clanton. I mean, all these guys, hey, even over Terry Sanford, right there, non-playing personnel, hey, not permitted on the playing area during the 30-second timeout or less. Not permitted to stand in the free throw lane line, area extended. That what that means is underneath that basket, that free throw lane line goes all the way to the wall. And we got people, it's packed in the gyms. Hey, fire code, that went out in the girls' game. All right, everybody standing on that. They can't be, that person going for the layup in there, they can't be in there. We got the second part of that, not really the first, the 32nd thing, not permitted to stand in the free throw lane line area extended out of bounds. That's the inside that paint area. It stops at the end line all the way through. We can't have anybody standing there. Cheerleaders, spectators, fans, anybody. Okay. And so when we get there, we got a resource officer, we got the game day administrator, and we know sometimes we go into the varsity game, they're already there in the girls' game. They're already out there. You gotta let them know. They can be, but they can't be in there. They're gonna migrate, and you'll know when you get down there. And so make sure you got the game day administrator. We're not gonna allow that. All right, that's how kids get hurt. Jurisdiction, again, we went over there. We should be on our court in our positions 15 minutes prior to the start of the game. 15 more to start and remain for the duration of the game. It's a pregame. That's when our jurisdiction began, guys. I'm in the confines of the court. But 15 minutes prior, we should be standing there. Or U1, U2, or in the U1. I mean, should be in there. That's out of bounds. Now we got some guys out. We'll show you. I think it's loaded up on the National Federation NCAA website where we had one of our officials, person went out of bounds. Hey, technical foul, bam, popped it. Now it's a violation. It's a violation rule as soon as player leaves the court for an unauthorized reason. Post play, extending the arm bar, not allowed. Those are the things, guys. When you go and talk to these teams, I want you to kind of, hey, once they become a ball handler, we got to get the arm off of them. Hey, we got to stop allowing that knee and everything else in the back. Next, what is that? Replace team member. Next opportunity after the clock has properly started. We talked a little bit about that. Okay, when they can, we direct them out of the game, when they can come back, time coming off the clock. We'll get into detail about these things. Keep going with it. One thing, the very bottom of that, you'll see shot clock. Now, when we talk about shot clock, no, even though we're not going to have it here, and I talked about this in the state because it's part of one of the state rules changes. And I talked about at the Sand Hills Athletic Directors meeting, and they all agree because they can't get the people to keep the clock right now. But it says what this year, our state adoption is 35 seconds. We don't use it, and I don't know, they may in some tournaments. But right now it's 35 seconds, and we're not going to use it for North Carolina. You see that? Go down, John. Reset. There's no rule. Team control. Here we go. All right, here we go. Team control. Team is in control when the player is in control, when a live ball is passing among teammates, doing an interrupted dribble, when the ball is at the disposal of a thrower in. That's team control. All right. Doing a loose ball, there's no rule. All right. I mean, I think we had in a Robeson County, they had a game the other day, and it was a former official was talking to a current official, and they had a shot, field goal attempt. On the field goal attempt, the ball hit the ring, went to the back court, and the offensive team got the ball. Now, once the ball was in there, the field goal attempt, there is no team control. And that's so again, those are the times. Pass among teammates, doing an interrupted dribble, and the ball's at the disposal of throw-in. That's when we got team control. All right. We also got player control. All right, free throws, never shot on a team control foul. That's one thing, but that's all offensive foul. So we're gonna have either team control foul, is that not the shooter, not the airborne shooter, but that's when we have illegal screen, called a legal block, pushing, something like that. When I got the ball, I mean, and we got team possession, and then we have a foul. And that signal now has been combined with the player control foul. So both to indicate to the scorer that we're not going to be shooting foul shots. No matter where, 10th foul, 7th foul, it doesn't matter what fouls, how many fouls they got on a team control foul, player control foul, we never shoot free throws. And we got technical foul types. Those we're going to go in detail later on, where we'll know who assess it to and what happens. Team, player, substitute, and bench. That goes. It is in the chapter. It's in the rule book. Exactly tell you what head coach. They got a little table in there. It kind of shows you, when he's assessed the foul. Oh, I got that there. That's in the chapter 10. They got that in the book. The technical foul penalty summary. That's on page 77. And so again, I want you to cross-reference some of these things as you go through it. When you get this link, and I go through it and kind of go through it, and you can pick up some things and put in your toolbox to use later on during the season. Because they got in there where indirect for penalty to bench personnel includes pre-game or dead ball dunking. And that's one of the things we have, guys. We got to do a better job of that prior to the game. I mean, you know what they coming out doing. I mean, that pre-game stuff, with the uniform police and everything else, we got to keep that muted because we don't want to start the game off with a technical foul. I mean, that's not our desire. But if we can't go out there and let them have a dunk contest. So, all right, because some of us go in and we come back and it's all on social media. They playing it back. All right. What I'm done. Let's see. Got about 10 more minutes. Let's see here. There's the count toward the team foul. They got those there. Resumption of play. Go down to 10-second rule. Yeah. Must advance from backcourt. Now listen, this is what the second part of that sentence. The second sentence is count starts on player control. A lot of time, if it's not the 10-second rule, when we got to start the clock after made free throw and everything we put up, we do a pretty good job because once the player touches it, we come down and we get to do a good job of chopping the clock in again. But the count and what happens is that when they roll the ball in, or they do something like that, remember not the 10-second count. The clock could be running. We don't start our clock. We don't start the what? 10-second count until player control. All right. And then, like I said, that's all I was Chris, I was alluding to, is that if we stop that because the clock don't start it, we start that back. If we reset it in the back court, every time there's a new throw in, we reset the 10 seconds. So again, we don't want to help anybody. So we're going to let it get all the way to what? The division line, if we have to, and then reset it. Because we don't want to allow the team another 10 seconds to do that. So that's why I say, if something happens in there, we don't reset, because every time the ball starts back in the backcourt, that 10 seconds start over. They got 10 seconds to get it in. All right, this came up in our on-court session the other night, 3-second violation. In order for not to be in the lane, not to be considered, both feet must be placed on the court outside the free throw lane to avoid a 3-second violation. The free throw lane line. So either line, if you're on the line, if you're on there, you're in the lane. All right. Both feet must be placed on the court outside. All right. And we talked about that the other night when I think Cleo brought it up. If your foot is touching the line, or yes, that's what it says right there. 20-foot throwing lines, no problem. Keep going, John. You're done there. We got that. Reaching through the boundary plane, may not cross the boundary plane until the ball has been released by the thrower. You got that violation team on us. That's delay a game. Anything following that, we'll talk about if they hit it. What if you reach through and you make contact? If you do that, foul, technical foul, all those things. We'll go with that at a later time. Near the spot, we as you talk about excessive timeouts. Someone called it like excessive timeout. That's what we got. Technical foul. Number and length of timeouts to include. I mean, we'll go through the signals. We did that the other day, where we stand. We got the 30-second and the 60-second timeout. And this is one of the things, guys, a lot of times in the game, and what Larry alluded to is for us, we go through our situations. They just, especially when we get a running clock situation, they call a timeout a lot of times just to get the substitutes in. You can reduce that 30-second or 60-second timeout. The key thing is what? If both teams are ready. A lot of times they both come out on the court, we don't just stand there and look around. Hey, you can go there and tell them, hey, they just go, need to be ready. Because some of these clocks, these scoreboards, they will put this 1 minute up there, 30 seconds. But when the teams are both ready, if they want to do that just to get a substitute in, but anytime they call a timeout, they're authorized at whatever level it is. If it's a 30-second, they're going to get 30 seconds. 15, maybe first horn, then when it expires, we go get them. But if they redo, both teams are ready, there's no reason to stand there and wait till the clock goes down. All right, that's when you do your briefing. When you go to the table in 10 minutes and check the book, that's when you'll tell your score that. Okay, if both teams are ready, but make sure whoever's over there, you look at them, because somebody's going to be what? There to put the ball in play. So you just go ahead and do that. But they can't do that. So we don't, hey, they just want to get subs in, but the other team, but it's got to be both teams. That's the request Chris was alluding to when they call a timeout. Recognize when a player is in control. Right, John, you going up? Or a player or coach can request. The player or coach can request timeout. Okay. But only when they request. So again, is there going to be some lag time? Probably. Sometimes not. Well, if we enter the game and we kind of anticipate it, hey, we'll get it. They can request, but it's only going to happen when you grant it. All right. We talked again about the resumption of play procedures. We talked about the uniforms the other day. Home team should wear white. Visitors are contrasting dark color. The jersey design. They'll tell you about what is the torso? That's what it is. Again, read over that. It turns the base of the neckline to the bottom of the jersey, side to side, from insert to insert. All right, no design fixture outside. That's what we call the torso of the jersey. How they're worn. Jersey down to be worn outside the pants permitted. Sometimes you have some of the women's games they have that. Most of the men they don't. Because then if it's, you got to wear it the way the manufacturer intended for it to be worn. You see what jersey pants may not be removed within the visual confines of plan. We don't care if they have those, you know, they get those tights underneath or anything that's compression shorts and stuff like that. They can't remove that on the confines of there. They can go outside the area inside where people can't see them. You know, going to the locker room just out of sight, out of sound, right? No rule on pants or shorts, but even we can't have that. The drawstring can't be showing. They got undergarments of those colors, black, white, beige, or the prominent color jersey. And the undershirt, we also did the penalty up there for illegal jersey and short. Go up, look, John, for the penalty for illegal jersey number. All right, that's what it is. Direct technical foul charge to the head coach. He's responsible because we ask him for the game, what are all your players legally and properly equipped? All right, so that's what happens. The undershirt, first sentence there. Individual player must have same length sleeves. I know we talked about that. I think Robert did a good job. He told us exactly what paragraph. He gave us a rule reference on that the other night. The individual player, I mean, each player, long sleeves permitted. I mean, but it said the individual player can have one long, one short. It's got to be the same length for the individual player. One visible manufacturer logo, same color. Arm sleeves, you got those. They'll tell you about headbands and all that. It has to be what? All teammates. We got white, black, beige, prominent color universe.
Hey, Errol,
Yes, sir.
for headbands, are we still going with the policy that Mark Drivova sent out last year that pre-wrap is not permitted?
Right, unless Cecil tell me different, and I'll ask him that tomorrow night on the call. So whoever's going to be on the call, just make sure just say pre-wrap. Well, we're probably going to go with it because I don't know if he'll be able to make a decision on the spot. So I'll probably do that beforehand.
Yeah, the
But
pre-wrap and the ones with the knot tied in the back were banned.
Right, and that was the key. That was the key thing last year because we did the hair. That's one of the rule changes about the hair dome and all those things, trying to prevent injuries not only to the opponent but also the teammates. When they go for that loose ball, you can run to your teammate just as much as you can run to your opponent. But I'll put that down there for about the pre-wrap. You see, guys, teammates matching. All headbands, wristbands, sleeves, and tights worn must be the same color. And you're normally gonna have one with black, two. They don't get in there just because these two have this color. Don't make that decision for them. Don't say your two got it on. She has to take hers off. That's up to the team. It's got to be one color. That one superstar, they gonna let do it. But look, let's don't get in there. If three of them got one color, she has to change or he has to change. Just say they all can be. So whatever they go and do, they go do. So let's not make that decision for them. Yeah, last slide. Last one. There's a video. All right, legal to use during the game or intermission for coaching. All right, for coaching. The guys come over there. How was that a foul? Hey, he gonna have video. He wants you to come over and look at it. Don't just go to him. Goats. Can't use that. Can't use that video. I mean, again, the only time we're gonna be able to use videos for review is in the championship game. All right, but we can't do that. But they can use it. Now, everybody gonna get this. Everybody gonna get this link. I want you to go through it. You know, it didn't go in great detail, but that was just a general idea of what differences are. But you can go there and highlight it and do those different things. That'll give you some of the major differences that we do when you're doing games, because it's different on different levels that you do. All right. Because I know some of you do when they have a running clock, guys, we still gonna do our same mechanics. If we get into the game, everybody understand they have a running clock. In football, it's 42 points. In basketball, it's 40 points. All right. Once they get to that 40-point threshold, once you get a 40-point lead, we have a running clock. Only time we're gonna stop the clock is on timeouts, in the quarter, and injury. Okay, that's it. Okay, and when that happens, I mean, that team went down 40 points. First half, so whatever one, they can come back and win, but still, they're gonna do what? It's gonna play running. All right, we don't. Now, when you go to middle school, some middle schools may go to different things. But in high school, both JV and varsity, what we have is it's a 40 point before we get to a running clock. All right, know what it is. Don't go out 2 or 3 times and you get to 40 and you forget, and then you don't. Somebody closest is always gonna be on table side. It's going situational awareness. It goes in, the person on the free throw line. They make that free throw, 39 points up, and you got your fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything else. It goes in. Guess what? They shoot 3 free throws, and they make the first. And whenever one goes to the 40 point, the clock continues to run. Okay. So when somebody asks that, hey, were they less than that? No, it doesn't matter. Right? But they don't start running like that until when? They're gonna play the first half what? Straight. So it don't matter if they at the end of the first quarter, second quarter. Anyway, it'll be when we start the third quarter, we should have already reset the foul count. We should have reset the fouls. Once we throw it in the third quarter, it won't stop again to the final. I mean, to the end of the third quarter, then again at the end of the game. Anybody got anything else they saw in there?
A question was asked in the chat. As a lead, you see the arm bar in the post before the ball gets there. You're saying it's not a foul until the ball becomes until the ball becomes a ball carrier.
The player becomes a ball handler. It's definitely. But if you get it, you see it. Hey, I expect you to use some preventative officiating. I mean, if you go now, if I just put my arm up there, I mean, but if I, we hit the person in the back, just let them know, hey, I'm here. Now, again, sometimes I think Leach or someone said that last week when we were talking about it, sometimes you need to see the play. If that was, I think Lamar Wallace said that. But again, if we just put it up there, the guy's backing into me, and I just put my arm up there. Hey, look, just from stop. It's like that. Anytime you got 2 hands on, that's a foul. But if you just walk back out, because anybody can stand anywhere on the court they want, especially on defense. I can be in the lane. I'm standing there. They're right to come knock me off that spot. So if you coming in, I put my arm up. But again, definitely when a person gets to receive the ball, they become a ball handler. You got to get your arm down. Now I will tell you, you can kind of tell. When the guys want to, the young ladies want to bang in there. It's going to be games where just because somebody's bigger and stronger, they just we're going to play bullet ball. So,
Earl.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this Darryl Page here.
Yes, sir.
It's just a few things that I just want to bring up right quick, especially as we go into these scrimmage plays. We really need to, and we're going to talk a little bit about the post play, but we need to really pay a close attention to our post play, how we officiate some of these guys. We got a lot of teams have players 6'7" and taller, and we're not doing any justice for them guys down there in the paint. We're allowing the hand checking and holding and pushing and shoving down there in the paint. But these little fellas that's up on the top and they guard play, as soon as we put a hand on, we call it hand check and this, that, and other. But we're letting them pretty much go wrestle and everything else down in that paint. If we don't know how to officiate these big guys in the post area, we're doing the team some injustice. So we're going to really need to concentrate on what we need to be looking at. And the guys who are in that area need to be watching their own primary area instead of ball watching. You need to make sure you're watching that post play, because we don't want them big guys hit one of them little guys like that. So we should allow them to treat them big guys, in that type of way. So when you're doing your scrimmages, this is a prime time to try to understand and get to know what you should and shouldn't be calling while it's in the post play, and don't let them guys get beat up. So we need to make sure we on top of that. That'll make our game a whole lot better if we take care of them big guys as well.
Right. Again, Darryl saying that. Now it goes, I'll tell you, Northwood Timber has 2 7-footers. Now, what I've seen, not just on Saturday, but last year over the summer, is when the guys in there trying to establish position. People think it's a sumo wrestling. They're going in there hitting each other. And I think John alluded to that when you put that arm up there. But they say those guys coming across, when we saw that ball at the top, I mean, when it's out in the trails area, up near the 28-foot line, they cross course, and here's this guy coming across the paint. Because we allow the guys to, just like I say, we see the guy going to set position, we allow him a lot of excess contact. I mean, like I said, we wouldn't allow that. What Darryl was saying is out there in open space, but we line it down low. So again, I mean, and it's getting like that because the guys, we know where they want to get the ball. The easiest shot is going to be what, closer to the basket. And they're trying to get the ball down there to their big guys. And we letting other people kind of ride them out, push them out. And again, we don't want to, I mean, we know, and again, we're going to show that. I mean, like I said, for those who listen on the call, you're the referee, when you're not on the court, especially, I mean, you watching, help that crew that's on there. You know, I mean, I think St. Paul's is going to have a lot there. They got 2 kids, 6'8", 6'9", young guys, freshmen, both over there. Norwood Timber, 2 7-footers. We've now some whole starting lineup over 6 feet tall. And they want that ball down low, but watch what they do prior to setting up in offense. We got to officiate that hard. I mean, you got to that ball watching. When you say close down, and close down, come down closer to what? When you there, closing down mean closing down to the near lane line. Now, when you just trail to see, you're taking a step toward that same end line, the best that you are. But I want you to close down because, again, we have some bigger guys. And like I say, we do allow a lot more. And that's not part. I mean, you can play physical and play fair. Now, do remember, guys, we got to keep the game fair and got to keep it safe. Anybody got anything else? I mean, as pertains to the scrimmages and coming up now, again, if someone's asked, I'm going to come up with the basic things I want you to cover. One of them going to be the post play. I mean, I might send a couple slides or so. I want you to just present and go over with the coaches. Again, that when you say legal contact, we kind of got that hand check. We kind of got that, hey, speed, rhythm, and balance, as well as when a person get your hand off, put them on step. But again, that post play is something kind of, and the people that kind of playing above the rim. And again, when those guys go up in the air, they defenseless guys. We learn a lot of contact, and it's a game of skill. I mean, basketball. I mean, we want to let them. It's a free flowing game. A lot of that unnecessary. I mean, it's not. We guide them around the court and stuff like that, but we got a lot of that all the way around. And then we got anything else? I would like to say I will be finalizing those on court clinics. I want to get one in Bladen, Columbus County. I want to get something in Richmond, Scotland County, maybe in Moore County, Robertson County. Again, and when we have things in your area, guys, the expectation is for everybody in that area to participate. I mean, they come. That's what it's for, and we're going to have as much of that. I mean, well, I would like to get it in a high school gym because that's where we're going to have the games at. But if not, we'll go to a recreation center, those other things. So I'll be reaching out to some of you to kind of help facilitate that. But we're going to do that, and it's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the next 2 weeks. I'll probably have reach out to some of you, and if you want, we're going to the gym early on a weekday morning or in afternoon. It's only to help you. I mean, because again, most of the stuff because we're going to do all this 3-person, but we know it's going to be some schools that are middle schools, and all of them have 2-person, and some of the JV teams have 2 persons because they've specifically asked. But anytime I can put 3 people, a 3-person officiating crew together, I am. Now, at the meeting last week, Pine Crest is going to have 3 teams. And I mean that when I say 3 teams, 3 levels. They have a varsity, men and women, JV, men and women, and they're also going to have a freshman team. They get that freshman team, I think, got 12, 13 games. So over there, I use 3 people on that JV. So if you, Jack Brett uses 3. Send the first. Grace Creek has reached out and said they only want 2. I mean, again, but sometimes, I mean, you work hard for that paycheck when you do 2 people on a JV game. Because some of the JV boys can easily be paying at the next level. So but anytime I can use 3, I'll use 3. I want you to go and use the best mechanics. So some of you guys, if you got a varsity game, then you got a JV game. It's not because you've been moved down or downgraded, but you got to help somebody else. I want you to be a referee. Sometimes I don't want to create an atmosphere where I got a professional U1 and U2. this season, you should be a referee at some level during the course of this season. I would like to get that sooner than later because I want you to go through the process of having those same type responsibilities, conducting the pregame, hey, going to check the book, hey, tossing the ball. You know, you can designate someone else to. But remember, on the second, third, and fourth quarters, the referee will be the one handling that. I mean, so again, I don't get it done by everybody by the first, now through the first of the year in January, but sometime during the season. So again, so if you go do a JV game, I don't have just varsity officials. You have officials that can work every level. All right. Any other? I'll be finalizing. We still have a couple of schools. Spirit of Life. One school, they want to play their game starting at 3:15 and 5:10. So I got to go out and visit a couple of schools prior to assigning games officials to those games. But a lot of changes. Some of you gonna have a change for tomorrow. I got something that whoever's assigned to the Berean Liberty game. Berean put it out there. AD was at a conference in Atlanta, Georgia. He's back today. He's supposed to play them tomorrow. And I get a text message, an email today from Liberty and say they're not playing them tomorrow. So you may look at it, especially this week, every morning before you retire, that evening, when you get up in the morning, just check it before you leave, because it's, like I say, a lot of moving parts. Private schools got real games this week. Subject to your questions, John. Anything else in the chat? Anybody got anything else for the good of the group?
We had some come up in our game at New Life. I think it's good, possibly for the R's when they go over and talk to the table, to identify the home book. We all know that's easy, but to possibly talk to the visiting book and let them know that if the visiting book has a discrepancy, that they should work it offline with the home book. It stopped our game for a little bit while the visiting book had a discrepancy. So just identify who that home book is, let them know that, hey, this is the home book, identify it to the visiting book, that we're going to work with this book only. And if they have discrepancies, to identify and work it at their offline time, or work it, but we're going to go with the home book.
That's good he brought that up. Now, guys, also what Daryl's referring to, when you go through, that's why I say I want everybody to be the referee at some point during the season, because when you go through that mechanics manual, you'll start getting assignments on that. That mechanics manual will tell you what the referee's responsibilities are. Okay. Even though, and the whole crew should know. I mean, that's usually when we're on there, we'll tell when we come up prior to start the game, we go over and finish at the table, we come back over. And sometimes before we go to meet with we go to the first coach, we go to visiting coach and go to home coach. We tell you which one of them. We see them sitting over there, who's the home book. Just help each other out, because when we go there, hey, that book doesn't leave. Let's get that, like I say, again, what we're going to do is make sure that we help each other out, because that happens when, especially if you go to a school for the very first time, and you can kind of tell the experience, that when the referee, hey, but I would tell you this is, because it means Spirit Life, it's a couple of schools, if we go the first time, we got to probably need to tell that, because they're doing a book, they'll take it away. So it has to stay there. So I mean, it's not being over officious to do that. So hey, just kind of tell them, you get a general feel of what they person on the book. You go over there, and, hey, everything's good. You give them a thumbs up. You don't need to go over there and just have another little clinic or anything like that. Well, again, one thing we do is, hey, we get the 16 foul. We kind of notify the rest of the crew. Look, that's 6. That means the next one, what? The next coming to foul. Next foul, not offensive foul. We're gonna be shooting 1-on-1. If it's a shooting foul, no problem. But we do that. They kind of tell us. I kind of tell the scorer to do that. So when you finish giving that foul, they'll say 6. We want to let you know, so we don't want to miss that. But that's what Daryl said. That's the key, because we don't want. Hey, when things go like it's supposed to, guess what? It's no problem. By the time you get a hiccup, and now we over there. What is the referee's talking about? What happened? Some of it, we want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Scrimmages, hey, some just came up and look here. Now, if you don't, if you have a conflict of interest on a regular season game, I may not, I mean, so it's, hey, if that conflict is your spouse, your significant other, someone works at the school, if it's a scrimmage, because obviously if you live close by, that's a scrimmage. If somebody, look, you don't need to tell me like I did that. Probably I knew that when I did it. All right, because I see it, I got a list of people that won't work this, ain't work this way. If it's a scrimmage, now if it's a scrimmage where you have a child at the school, your child plays on the men's basketball team, and you could officiate the girls' game, I'm gonna say yes. All right, because look, because in scrimmage, I guess, I mean, as you have ended, most of the scrimmage, they don't keep score. All right, so we're calling foul, but if you have that, so I'll do it on a case-by-case basis. But again, I don't need officials saying this person shouldn't have been over there. And if you go on, for most time, I will assign you scrimmage. But most of the time, like I say, what I did is when I published those, I was pleasantly surprised and pleased that those individuals that went over there and worked the games. You know your schedule, something may happen. I mean, I have no problem with, hey, that means you show me that you want to work, and this is what it is. But again, I'm gonna try to keep you close as I can on the scrimmage. Sometimes I was good because Westover was playing over there, Lumberton, I mean, Northwood Temple. We had some games over there, so I knew I needed to sign some strong officials over there, send the right message early. I mean, because CWC had like Larry, like he made some observations there. Daryl Page, Daryl Jenkins, Cleo, counted up some things that we need to work on, guys, because they're going to see you. Some of them going to see you during regular season, right? But we can't allow them. If we don't, it's not fair to them. If we're going to let them do whatever they want to do in scrimmages, they come up next week when the regular season starts, start doing something totally different. So, but I'll probably use a little bit more leeway on the scrimmages and just don't be out there when it's your son or daughter that's playing. But for us being there, because we know it's close, we know you get no compensation for the scrimmages other than you get experience. Because some people, like I say, those that went down on a short notice went down to O'Neill. Appreciate that. And like I say, I'll start assigning as I get them. And if you see something, because some of y'all know, I mean, some of y'all know just as much as I do when it comes down to some things, because I'm pretty sure I appreciate you giving that information. If you know about a scrimmage, and sometimes the coaches will ask you, all right, just get the information to me. I'm gonna put them all out as of tomorrow night when that Zoom clinic is going on. I'm gonna capture all the scrimmages that I have from all the coaches. They're gonna get one. Hopefully, they'll have them all to me about 2 o'clock tomorrow. Everything they want to do, I'm gonna put them all out to you all. Then I'm gonna put them in the system, and then I'll be starting assigning them, because really, the 18th, I'm gonna look at the first day of the actual public schools, and like I say, hopefully those games will go out in the next 48 hours, because I'm hopefully do those on Tuesday. Because for that first night, that first Friday night. Because again, some teams, hopefully, a couple of our football teams will still be playing. So I know it's probably going to change. There's going to be some changes to it. All right, this is beyond time. Anybody got anything else for good of the group? If not, make sure you get credit. Do you have a phone number, John? Make sure you get it.